before I really want to get into, we left off episode 15, and we didn't really have time to get into interracial. And I know that you are married to a white woman, so I guess it's a two-part question. I want to know about your experiences with racism in America personally, and your experiences with an interracial relationship.
Yo, so like I said, I got 5 sisters, right? So I like at a young age was like, I got enough black girls in my life, right? So I spent most of my life just being like, yo,
For anybody listening, by the way, Byron happens to be an African American.
And I actually have gotten that before. People be like, yo, I thought you were white until I saw you on YouTube. And I had one dude hit me up on YouTube, be like, yo, what did he said something like Byron. He was like, Byron talks like a surfer, but you look like you can get down if you need to. And I was like, all right, cool. Anyways, so growing up, I tended to be like, yo, like I like other stuff. So I went to all kinds of different racial, biracial, all kinds of situations.
Where did you grow up?
I was born in the Bahamas. I grew up in Washington, so in Washington State and the Bahamas. So I would go back and forth so I can swim. For all y'all, wow. So we're breaking stereotypes today, right?
Fucking A.
Right. So yeah, man, I grew up in the Bahamas and in Washington State, bouncing back and forth from those coastlines and stuff. So, so I kind of grew up dealing with certain things. Like I've not been able to take chicks to the prom because I was black. Girls can't introduce me to their parents, type of things. You know what I mean? I've dealt with a number of different little stupid issues around it.
But
Whole families not accepting me.
That as time went on? I mean, that's painful, no?
So we get back into, I define myself and nothing outside of me defines me. I spent a lot of time with parents being taken away from me when I was little and just kind of out there figuring things out for myself, So
in the moment you had to develop this mental toughness.
As a young man, I developed this mental toughness, and I've seen that it's made all the difference not letting external things define me, and then never letting the trauma change my name. So, I have found myself in the back of cop cars multiple times because I was just black in the wrong spot. I've not been able to rent houses in certain places or buy things in certain places because I was black. And I never let some trauma change my name and cause me to become bitter or cause me to give them a reason next time. I don't let them define me. I don't turn into, what it is they think I am. And I'm always like, nope, I'm Byron. And I use that energy to just work harder and be better and be so much better that they have nothing to say. Because I grew up, with my grandparents who were actually in the struggle telling me all the time, yo, you're going to have to be twice as smart to get half as much credit. Whether it's true or not, that's an empowering belief. So I took that.
But that's so, I have that same that same thing, but it's not. It doesn't. To me, it transcends race. I think it's that mentality of not being a victim and assuming the responsibility of twice amount of work as everyone else.
Yep.
Is the way that you succeed in a capitalist nation.
Yeah, and that's why I was like, whether it's true or not, that's just an empowering. That's something everybody should just take that. You know what I'm saying?
You met your wife 8 years ago?
Yeah.
And you've been married for how long?
We've been married for actually 10 years now. Yeah.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah.
And does she get any hate or anything through social media, through her family, anything? Do you feel uncomfortable?
No, her family's awesome. In the beginning, there was
How did you guys meet?
We actually just met at Hennessy's Tavern, man, in Dana Point.
Whoop, whoop.
And I just instantly, it was one of those weird, how'd you know you're going to be with Wilbur for the rest of your life? I just knew when we met, we just knew. And you're and they've been together for 50 years or something, right? Yeah. So it was that. I just met her and I was like, oh, this is my lady, I just do it. And so it was a little over a year after that, I was like, click, here we are.
And how does she get any?
I try to keep her off the radar as much as I can because of, the work I do and things like that. Mm-hmm. So you'll see my family sometimes in my stories, but that's about it really. But she's really we're just grounded in each other and stuff like that. So we don't never let that stuff change us or negatively impact it. Most things people do are just a reflection of the way they treat themselves.
Yeah.
That's.
So before we get out of here, I want to there's so many other things, but I think the main next point should be, I want your thoughts, I guess, on everything that's happened lately from Kyle Rittenhouse to how the officers responded with Jacob Blake to the 2 LASD officers that were shot in Compton.
In 30 seconds.
No, we get some time, but the Kyle Rittenhouse thing. What's your take on that as far as a 17-year-old kid being down there with an AR-15?
Yeah. So, I really want to advocate for inclusion and people being together and working together and covering each other and connecting. I've been to, we've seen war. We've seen what happens when people can't have conversations and it turns into violence. And then there's a moment afterwards where there's one guy laying on the floor and you're like, that's just another human who had different beliefs than me, who believed him strong enough to come fight me today and my dudes. And now here we are. We got to keep it moving. So with seeing him being willing to go down there and stand up for, protecting those people, I'm a protector by nature. So I'm kind of like, heck yeah, man. Like, I wish more Americans would try to cover each other in that way. I find it extremely tragic that something like that has become something that, might even be a part of our society, that people should have to try to cover each other and protect each other.
I guess what I mean is, if you were there, do you think he would have even had to fire a shot?
Meaning,
like, I don't think he had there were older men there that knew what they were doing.
Dude,
why did none of them? Why did not? Like,
why
if
did the 17-year-old kid
I would have been.
do it?
Like, here's the thing. Where I go, like,
this
I'm
is
glad
why.
you're here.
Hold on,
let me finish. I'm glad you're here.
Yeah.
But go somewhere in the back. Like, don't be right out front here.
He's a target because he's 17. The first person who targeted him was a pedophile.
Yeah.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And he grabbed his gun and was fired on. Mm-hmm. Okay? After trying to take his weapon from him and after screaming the N-word in a gas station. Then he fled the scene to go surrender to officers. Right. Yeah. And as he was fleeing the mob, they chased him down.
And tried to hit him.
He should not have been out there because he was 17 years old.
Yeah.
He just if you're 17 years old, but again, there's an argument.
Yeah.
If there wasn't for 17-year-olds with guns, we'd all be British.
Speaking some other stuff.
Yeah.
No, again, man, my whole take on this thing is still I don't know the right or the wrong.
But Antifa or BLM would not target any of us.
Yeah.
Absolutely. They're like,
nah.
But how fucking thick are you? You know who I'm not sizing up? Someone with an AR-15. I don't care if they're 11. Go to a third world country. There's kids with AKs that are fucking 12 years old.
Take you out of the car.
These are not the best and brightest. These are not. These are trained Marxists, not trained soldiers.
That's true.
And they have no
instigators. They're trained fucking instigators.
Yeah.
So
they're not. They're not. Again, these are the same
thank
people
God.
who are.
Thank God they're not tactically proficient and that good at deviance.
And now, what do you think about?
But yeah, there should have been some grown men that got his back. Like,
yeah,
why is this kid?
These guys had they had body armor. They had all the stuff. They knew what was happening, and this kid just kind of was. I mean, granted, he had his medical bag and stuff like that, but I don't know, man. I just wish that I saw some better leadership amongst, because I'm all for protection and doing that stuff, but I feel like if you're there, I'm gonna listen. You have a little bit of an edge on me. I respect that, right?
It's my world.
Now. And if there's someone else that goes, hey, Shane, what do? I go, if I know, I will tell them. If not, I go, let me ask Byron. Like, I don't know. I guess we just know chain of command or who has the answers to what is best to do next.
Yeah.
And I just feel like they didn't have that there. And I understand because it's, just civilians arming themselves. But I feel like if you have an AR-15 in your hand, have a fucking plan, man. Be with people that have a plan, because that's not a fucking BB gun. Nope.
Sure. But you shouldn't even have to be there. And then this goes back to everyone's demanding to defund the police, and they want to have a citizenry police. And then they get what they want, and their goons get shot, and they scream for justice. And then they try to say the guy was a white supremacist. He's Hispanic.
Or something.
Yeah.
And a citizen
Caucasian Latino. I'm like, you can't just add white to things.
You put it to you guys got it's not a coloring book.
I know.
How was the situation avoidable in Compton?
With the two officers.
Avoidable?
Well, yeah. I mean, how does that not happen?
How does that not happen?
I mean,
I would say that there's a great push within the media and that narrative that we're kind of touching on a little bit that's weaponizing people that are dejected or unhappy with society and unhappy with their lives. That's the first thing I think is like how you start to avoid like this direction we're going.
And do you think that was orchestrated because of them being already at the hospital waiting to block the entrance? Does that seem a little odd?
I mean, I don't know all the dynamics around that. I do know that when you're in that job, man, and you lace up your shoes every day, you're writing a blank check, and you gotta be on top of your game. But then at the same time, I know the feeling of being in a room where anybody could shoot you or blow up. You know that feeling too, and it's like you just gotta be using those shortcuts, and you gotta be making sure you're not placing yourself in a place that's gonna be vulnerable. You know, where your back's exposed.
But does that mean refusing to serve these communities?
You know, and this is, man, we're getting into this.
That's happening in Minneapolis now.
I honestly, bro.
Now Minneapolis, like, we need the police back.
No, I would.
What did you think would
happen? Yeah, honestly, I do support that because when this was kicking off and they were like, "Oh, the police are bad," I was like, you know what? We're gonna give you 2 weeks. I'm just gonna give you like a couple days of just no police since you guys can handle it. It's like when a you know, like a girlfriend's being bad or something. It's like, you know what? I'm just going to take a break, and you back off, and then they come to you. You make the person come to you. It's like, you know what? Do it without me. I think it's relevant, especially when everyone's being so ridiculous.
And people, to just say that all cops are bad, dude, I've had more run-ins with law enforcement than I care to fucking remember.
Yeah.
A lot of them sucked. A lot of them didn't. You know what I mean? So it's like, I've had.
That's like saying all black people are bad.
But I've had run-ins. I've had run-ins.
All white people are racist.
I've gone to airlines, and there's been shitty people at the airline and awesome people at the airline.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter what it is, but this is such an easy thing to just go, nope, that's it. They're all bad. Defund them.
Well, human beings have.
It's like all black people are gangsters.
Yeah.
Well, human beings have good and bad days, but the thing that's incredible is like how many. If you take, the police killed this many people, right?
Yeah.
Yo, doctors kill
1,000
times.
Yo, I'd be
doctors. It's fucking doctors kill people.
It's like the top
every
5
day.
leading cause of death
is misdiagnosis.
Maybe leave a pair of forceps inside
in America. Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, well, like.
No one's talking. Where's the outrage? Where's the outrage?
Well, because we can't. They're protected because the fucking. We can't. The medical community.
There's a lot of money in it.
Yeah, there's no. So it's an interesting thing, and I don't know. Like I wonder what it would be like. There's a movie called A Day Without a Mexican. Did you ever see that?
No.
Oh, so it basically
awesome.
was like what would happen.
California would survive.
That's the whole premise.
It's
like there's no Mexicans, and people are like, well, like nothing can work.
Nothing's working.
They should just have fucking like 2 weeks without police.
It'd be the
just
purge.
no police.
Yeah.
Nothing. Let everyone
figure it out.
You do you.
Yeah.
Enjoy.
That'd be a nightmare.
That's what I would do because they'd be begging for you to come back. And then these citizen police situations, I'm like, what do you think you're doing? You're just trying to do policing, but you don't have the systems in place that come from decades and decades of trying to perfect this process.
Yeah.
Who do you think you are? Like, I got a small boutique private security company trying to make sure that my values and my customer service and all my stuff gets out to a team, to a smaller team. This is the struggle of leadership. Yeah, I mean, and you think you're just gonna just come in and do this? You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. It's human nature is a tough thing to try to manage.
Well, we got to get the fuck out of Dodge. We could go on for hours.
This is good.
Thank you so much for coming in, Byron.
It's an honor.
What a pleasure.
Finding meaning.
Yeah, if you guys
after the military
haven't, I apologize that we didn't get a chance to get into this book, but thank you for this copy. Go check it out. Finding Meaning After the Military by Byron Rodgers. Where can the people find you?
Primarily at my main online property is byronrodgersmotivation.com. And from there, you can go to the social media. I have an online executive protection school, and I have all of the online protection assets to teach civilians how to really protect themselves, their families, and what they want.
I'll put all those links in the YouTube.
Also making a cameo in the new 5 Finger Death Punch music video.
Oh,
what's up?
Boom!
No, it's an honor to hang with those dudes, man.
Yeah. All right. Well, as always, you can find. I'm gonna. From now on, all the links will be in the YouTube video. You can find Tommy on Instagram at Tommy Vext. You can find me at Shane.Vitko. You can find us on Instagram at Deviant Gentleman. All listening platforms, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, whatever the fuck else you use is Deviant Gentleman Podcast, and you can find us on YouTube, Deviant Gentleman Podcast. You have to type it all in due to the fact of possibly being shadow banned. Thanks again, Byron. Thank you guys for tuning in. We'll see you next time.
Boom.
He's like Shrek without a donkey. Dicks out. From Ohio to Zimbabwe. Dicks out. Dicks out for